Shalom again, everybody. Rabbi Ariel here from the KosherTorah School, found online at KosherTorah.com. As we all know, for the past few weeks, we have been discussing almost exclusively the concept, the ideas, the prophecies about war. We've been discussing all the current events and looking at them in light of biblical prophecies. Are we in the end times? Is the war of Gog and Magog upon us, and all the rest? So we've been discussing all these things, but in all these discussions, we have to ask ourselves one really simple question. You know what that is? The question is this: so what? That's right. So what? If we're about to have a global thermonuclear war, we're all going to die? Well, then I guess we're all going to die. But I don't think that's going to happen. And I think those people who are terrified of that or afraid of that, well, maybe there's something more going on inside themselves than's really going on in the world. You see, the world is splitting now in a way which it needs to split. And that split is really coming down to something simple: godly versus ungodly, spiritual versus unspiritual, righteous versus wicked, good versus evil. And this transcends all of our religions. It transcends all of our cultures, transcends all of our philosophies, ideas, and beliefs. It just is. Bottom line is this: are you as an individual willing to accept, acknowledge, embrace, and experience a higher dimensional reality of which you are only a part? Or do you want to still continue the delusion, and it is a delusion, that you are the center of the universe? You are the most important. The 10 Commandments of secularism begins with, I am the Lord my own God. I shall have no other gods before me. That seems to be the motto of people today. Well, the powers of heaven, the powers of the universe, natural law, call it whatever you want, recognizes and sees and remember the laws of nature. Everything exists within a context. It needs to be existing and vibrating and pulsating within a context of what the universe defines as its own normalcy. And anything that gets too out of sync, well, forces are created that are going to bring it back into sync. To every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. Scientific stuff. We forget to realize or remember maybe that the scientific stuff and, in quote, the spiritual religious stuff is kind of all the same. We just don't pay attention to it because we're too distracted with all many other things. So right now, rather than proceed on war and war issues, let's discuss what we can actually do about it as an individual. Look, you and I, we're just, individual guys here. None of us are in control of this world. We're not going to be able to change the course of human events. These things are above us. They are in higher hands, human, extraterrestrial, and otherwise. And they have their own agenda. Where do we fit in? The question is, do we have to fit into their agenda? Or is there a back door out of it? The answer to that, obviously, is yes. You see, the whole purpose of movement in the universe is for the sake of evolving consciousness. Now, in our Kabbalah tradition, we talk about this and we refer to it as Hamshachat Mochin, which means bringing down of the sephirotic brains. If you've never studied the pattern of the 10 Sefirot, you should try to do so from obviously an authoritative model, which I'm trying to get the right words here and be politically correct. Look, you got a lot of nonsense out there, people who come and teach the Bible universally, Judaism in particular, and Kabbalah especially, who absolutely don't have a clue of what they're talking about. They read books, They read more books, and therefore they think that because they understand what the books say, at least they think they understand what it says, that they themselves are now experts. Oh, my goodness gracious. I've spent years and years trying to tell people, shy away from academics. You cannot understand experience through academics. You need to have experience. When it comes to experiencing the Sefirot and thus understanding them properly, understanding that the Sefirot are actually an internal psychic and psychological diagram, not only of us, but of consciousness in general from a human perspective. This is what I try to help people experience. I discuss this in my Sefer Yetzirah course, which is the real place to learn about the Sefirot. So right here on YouTube, way back when in the days of COVID, I did 96, if I'm not mistaken, mini lessons from the beginning to the end, covering the entire Sefer Yetzirah. Those videos are probably right here on YouTube right now. Go look them up, review all that I've taught about the Sefirot from Sefer Yetzirah. Or if you wish, go do a search on my channel here and look up all the other videos that I have on Sefirot and learn about them there. If you are inclined to read, I have full knowledge and teachings about this. You have book stuff, but at least it points in the direction of the internal experience. In my book, Walking in the Fire, it's actually being redone right now, and hopefully the revised version, expanded 2-volume version, hopefully is going to be out by the end of 2023. Let's hope and pray. We're working on it for a good number of months now, but okay, I digress. What can you do about what's happening right now? That's what we need to focus on. So I don't want to refer to this series of videos anymore as war videos. I want to refer to them as a psychic warrior series, because you become the psychic warrior. That's right, you. I don't care who you are. Don't tell me you're Jewish, you're not Jewish, you're a man, you're a woman, whatever religion you are, you're young, you're old, you're sick, you're healthy, whatever. It doesn't matter, because we are dealing with higher dimensional energies. And in that respect, energies is something you as a soul can develop, experience, and expand. Expanding consciousness, like I said. And that transforms you as an individual into a psychic warrior. Now, how do you do that? Well, there are a couple of things that we need to understand, only a few of which I'm going to discuss right now, and then we'll, God be willing, proceed in future videos. I want to give you actual things to do that you can therefore apply and begin to experience within yourselves how these things make a difference for you. Like I said, I don't think we're going to change the world, because the global plan is not in our hands. But like I said before, again, we do not have to fit into their plan when we can directly submit ourselves to the source. That source, we call it God, sentient consciousness of the universe, the ultimate reality, all right? As the Greeks would say, the primal cause. It doesn't matter what we call it. Your philosophy, my philosophy, ideas, beliefs, religious and otherwise, it doesn't matter. All of these things are, if you will, like layers of academic information and academic understanding, which cover over our experiences. We need to understand the experience of the original source of things. Now, we know that the creator, the source of all, spoke in ancient times and revealed itself. We always refer to God as a him, but we need to understand the subjectivity, the subjective nature of that appellation of pronoun. God is both male and female. In other words, active and passive energy forces. Remember, God is not a physical form. God is certainly not human. and therefore to apply to God any and all kinds of human attributes like we do also well, is just fundamentally immature and false. So what is God? That's a good question. Why should I answer you that question? Go figure it out for yourself. Notice I said that in the singular, because that's an answer you're going to find personally, not collectively. This is why in the previous video, I introduced you to the original biblical form of the name of God, the four-letter names, Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei. It's what's behind me now. If you go on to my community page here on our YouTube channel, you'll see this image. I have it there in a JPEG form, so if you wish, you can take it. It's in JPEG, download it, and put it up there, and with my blessings. I don't own this name or anything of the kind. It belongs to all of us, and we all belong to it. So in that respect, this is what we visualize as the name of God. And we call upon God each in our own way. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care if your expression or experience or interpretation is another person's definition of idolatry or not. I don't care. Deal with it directly with God and let that experience speak directly to you. So by understanding the pattern of the Sephirot, we understand the growth and expansion of consciousness. When we deal directly with the name of God, we have that anchor in centrality, in the center of things, which enable us to connect. And as we progress in this process, consciousness grows. My phone, I forgot to turn off. Sorry about that. But anyway, consciousness grows, experience evolves, and you therefore come to recognize more about where you fit in as an individual into everything going on. Are you going to be safe? Are you going to be sorry? Should you run? Should you stay? Should you fight? Should you not? Don't ask me. Ask the source, which is the one directing your destiny, your karma, your goral, your mazal, call it whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. That's the focus you need to have. Now, another thing, I've shared this from time to time. In order to gain proper focus, you need to sweep out all the stuff that's mentally around us, which clogs the system. We need to, in other words, get rid of a lot of the static. And as such, how do we do that? Well, in my book, Let There Be Knowing, I've outlined a system called the Ritual of the Shadai Star. Now, this is just a picture of it. All right, I've covered this material. Like I said, you can go Google this. Go onto the YouTube channel, put in a search, and put in the word Shadai, S-H-A-D-A-I. And you'll see some of my other videos and teachings about this topic. But in order to cleanse the mind, you need to create a sacred space. People who perform any kind of ritual stuff recognize what it means to create a sacred space. That's why any place which we consider to be holy, like the synagogue, a temple, even for those in mosque or a church, whatever, you consider that to be a sacred space, fine. Because what you need to have as a sacred space isn't that you're going to prevent yourselves from the evil demons coming to get you. Forget all that stuff. You need to clear the mind. So by cleansing the mind, by creating a psychic environment of safety, that's why we use this power. And the star specifically connects to the different forces in our four-dimensional spatial reality. Yeah, not 3D, 4D spatial reality. I'm not including time. That's another one. But anyway, getting back to the point, by performing specific rituals, you cleanse, or let me rephrase, I don't want to say you cleanse the mind. There's no magic here that if you do this, that happens. But you start the process. The process is psychic and psychological all at once, because this is a transformation. For example, for those of you who ever work out in a gym, you might start out being a little overweight, or your muscles aren't properly toned. So you go to the gym and you start lifting weights. You lift 10-pound weights. Eventually you're lifting 20-pound weights, then 40-pound weights, then 80-pound, then you're bench pressing 200 pounds. This is how it grows. We all understand this example I'm giving you. But as it says in with regards to weightlifting, no gain, no pain, no gain. It's the same thing with psychic development. You need to exercise your mind and consciousness. This is the beginning of our Psychic Warrior series. And this, in my opinion, is spiritual prepping for the future to come. No one knows. I was about to say, I don't know. No one knows what the future is. No one knows if this is the war of Gog and Magog. No one knows if we're going to have a global thermonuclear war, anything of the kind. What about those who are planning it? They have their plans. But just remember the wise old saying, man plans and God laughs. Remember, there's an agenda at one level, and there's an agenda above it, an agenda above it, an agenda above it, all the way up the chain of command to the one source, which is represented by that name behind me. Connect to that source. Connect to the name. Promises from the sacred writings, the Bible say, you call upon God's name, God doesn't only hear you, he answers. You're not going to hear voices in your head, but you will, if your mind and heart are clear, feel impressions of truth and righteousness, and therefore to know and understand the way of God. Beware of all expressions of extremes. You don't want to rip out to any polarity. Remember, to every action is an equal opposite reaction. We focus in the center. We recognize, like Isaiah 45:7 says, God and God alone is the author of both light and darkness, good and evil. Everything comes from the singular source. No duality, fighting, duking it out. That is our I was about to say our experience, but it's also our delusion. But, I'm experiencing a delusion. Yeah, I guess we are. We all are. So in that respect, we have to transcend and go beyond that, again, to the source to see the oneness. Create for yourselves a sacred space. Use the Shadai Star Ritual. Get my book, Let There Be Knowing. There's a link down below for it if you want. Check out my other videos here on YouTube for more information. Check out about the Sephiroth from my videos here, and experience this. I'm not trying to give you an academic education. I want you to see with your own eyes and experience this. Doesn't matter who, what, where you are. We have the ability to become powerful psychic warriors and to actually know our place and to be there without any kind of influence or interference from outside. You have what it takes, but you have to do it. And remember, no pain, no gain. So that's how I'm going to begin this Psychic Warrior series. God be willing, in our future videos, we'll learn more. We'll take up more lessons and see what more we can do. And I hope and pray that we'll learn what we need to do and do it. So please, YouTube talk, if you like the video, please click like, subscribe to our channel, help support what we're doing here, because the best prepping of them all is to prep yourself as an individual internally, so that regards to what your external circumstances be, you're connected to the source, which is God. God will guide you into the right ways, right places, in the right times. Please take that to heart. Thank you all for listening. God's blessings. See you all next time. Shalom.